So three. We are now starting. So welcome back to day 2 of the Healthy Schools Revolution. We have Chef Ann Cooper on with us today. Chef Ann, thanks for joining us.
My pleasure. Happy to be here.
Thank you. Well, you are certainly a game changer, and Chef Ann is obviously the founder of the Chef Ann Foundation. She has made tremendous change in her Colorado school systems as far as getting the packaged processed goods out of the cafeteria and getting wholesome, made from scratch meals into these children each and every day. And Chef Ann, I'd love for you to share with our audience sort of how you got started in this. What set you on this path of reform and change in the schools?
Well, I'm such an unlikely candidate to be a school food advocate. I spent my entire youth in food, not school food, but in restaurants, and I spent decades being a cook and a chef, worked all over the country, had my own restaurant, and there's nothing worse that could happen than on a Saturday night, one of the servers came running into the kitchen going, "Chef, chef, I have a screaming child on table 19, what do I do?" And I go, ask them to leave. Why are they even in my restaurant on a Saturday night? But, you know, I kind of went from that to really thinking about sustainable food, and I wrote a number of books, and one was Bitter Harvest. And in Bitter Harvest, I started really thinking about the food supply, why it makes us sick, why it makes us kids sick. And shortly after that was finished being written in the late 90s, I got asked to go and take over a school in New York. And originally I said, no, you know, I'm not going to be a lunch lady. But then they said, come and see the school, and I did, and the rest is history. So I've been in school food since 1999.
Wow. And so what part of New York were you in this first school experience?
East Hampton, New York, at the Ross School.
Okay, and how was their menu? What did they have? Nice food?
Well, we set up the food program. So it was, we were given a blank slate to create what would be healthy food, what would you want to feed kids, how would you want to educate them about it, and there was basically no budget when we started. So we brought chefs from all over the country together to really, you know, make the best possible food and teach kids about food. And we got a lot of notoriety, got a lot of visibility, and eventually Alice Waters asked me to come to California and work in the Berkeley School District, which I did, and then now I'm in Boulder.
And so Miss Waters she's like the godmother of school gardening, right? She is just a phenomenal.
She is phenomenal. She's the godmother of school gardening, and also in many ways arguably the godmother of, you know, sort of American healthy cuisine.
All right. And I guess, you know, in thinking back on, so you moved from the New York school system, then what took you out to the Denver area? What brought you there?
Well, it wasn't a school system. So in New York, I was at a private school.
Okay.
And Alice asked me to go to California, and I did that. And when that project was winding down, I got asked to come out to Boulder. So I was recruited to come out here.
Okay, and then how did the Chef Ann Foundation get started?
While I was still out in California working on the Berkeley School District, as I started going across the country talking about school food and getting more notoriety on school food, everyone kept saying, we need recipes, we need menus, we need manuals, what can you do? So I thought I needed to build a toolbox. And I actually envisioned it as a physical thing with all the tools inside that a school district would need to fix school food. But I quickly understood, even though this was, you know, 15 years ago, that I started thinking about this, that we really needed it to be digital. So fast forward to 2002, 2003, I really started thinking about this, and as time went on and I was in Berkeley, I thought, well, we need to build this, and we need money to do it, and so I decided I needed to get grants, and then I realized I needed a foundation in order to get the grants, and so that's how it started. 6 years ago, we started with the Chez Panisse Foundation as our fiscal partner, and then eventually I got my own foundation 4 years ago, and we've been moving forward ever since. So now the Chef Ann Foundation has numerous projects, one of which is now the digital toolbox, which is thelunchbox.org.
And that is am I correct in thinking that's a free resource for schools?
It is. It's a free resource for schools. It has menus, it has recipes, it has financial modeling tools, it has marketing tools. It's really an amazing resource.
And so what is it exactly as far as changing the school? Like, for instance, your schools in Colorado, did they have the packaged processed stuff there and you actually helped reform and get that out of there and start putting in the scratch-made foods?
Absolutely. When I came to Boulder, it was like many other school districts. Most of the food was highly processed, and now none of it is.
And so that's a simple answer, Chef Ann, but you know everybody wants to know, okay, just give us some baby ideas of, tell us a first step. What's the first thing that you could think of that you did with that school? Was it take chocolate milk off the lunch line? Was it, try to work with farmers to get the produce in?
The first step is to rewrite the menus. You have to start by getting rid of the processed food and rewriting the menus. And yes, we took chocolate milk off the menu right away. But the biggest thing is getting rid of the processed foods and starting to work on that. Although I will say for most school districts, a first step could be putting in a salad bar. And through the Chef Ann Foundation, we're the managing partner of Let's Move Salad Bars to Schools, which is a collaboration with Michelle Obama's Let's Move campaign, the Whole Kids Foundation, the National Fruit and Veggie Alliance, and United Fresh Foundation. So that's often a first step for schools, is to put in a salad bar.
I like that. And so in order to get that grant for the salad bar, how cumbersome of a process is that with the Let's Move Salad Bars to Schools?
It's really not that cumbersome. I mean, it's a couple-page grant application, and you actually have to have some of your numbers together before you start on the process, but it's not a lengthy process, especially for school districts that are typically having to fill out grant applications. So it's not a very big deal.
Okay, I think that, a lot of people just tend to hear about a change and their first reaction is, oh, that's going to be too difficult, and so they don't even try. And so what I'm hearing, your toolkit is going to be a way that allows parents to take ideas that have worked, here's the path to go on, and start implementing it, correct?
Absolutely.
So I'm just putting my hat on as a mom that has kids in school, and I'm someone that has gone up against my school board. We have 6 elementary schools, 1 middle, and 2 high schools in this particular school system, and the board has not wanted to really change the menu. And so I'm thinking, as far as first steps, we have the director of all of our school food has contracts with these other vendors, and we don't have kitchens, right? Some schools have kitchens and some don't, so they won't allow the schools with kitchens to use them because it's not fair to the schools in our particular system that don't have kitchens. So did you come up with any obstacles like that in your efforts?
Well, there's a very simple obstacle there's a very simple way to overcome that, and that's have the kitchens that cook for the other schools. So, I mean, when I came to Boulder, we had numerous kitchens cooking for numerous other schools. Now we have 3 regional kitchens that cook for all the schools. But all the menus have to change. The school districts can't not change the menus because of the Healthy Hunger Free Kids Act that's now been law for 2 years. So, everyone has to get healthy food into their schools. It's now the law.
Well, and I think that this is actually a parochial school system, so we're not part of the public school system, but I think that they would still be affected by the food guidelines. And so, it's interesting. They have made modest changes. They've taken off some of the more unhealthy things and added newer, fresher items on there. Now, so the first step you said would be a salad bar. What's a good way to negotiate with the, you said the other first step is changing the menu. Like, who are the contact people that a parent should approach first if they're not seeing change happen and they want something to get started?
They really need to go to the school board. Change does not happen at an individual school. It doesn't happen because a principal wants it to, or even the food service director. So the first thing I always suggest is go into the school and eat school lunch. Really look and see what the food is. And then get a lot of like-minded people and go to the school board and say, this is what we're serving our kids, and we don't want this being served anymore, and we really want you guys to help fix it. Another approach is to go to the food service director and go, what are the obstacles? What is it going to take to get healthier school food? How can we help? So those are the 2 rationales that I suggest.
And how difficult was it, would you say, on a scale of 1 to 10, how difficult was it to transition your Boulder schools from the process to the scratch cooking? Time-wise, difficulty-wise, number of years?
Well, we're in year 6, and we're still working on it. I mean, we're certainly a lot better. We have only hormone and antibiotic-free beef. All our chicken on the bone is hormone and antibiotic-free. We have a priority in local procurement. We have organic milk. So there's a lot of things we've done. There's plenty more still to do. It is hard to make these kind of changes, but if you have the support of the superintendent and the school board, it's absolutely doable.
And so why is, you know, in your mind, we all have theories, but why is scratch cooking the answer for these kids?
Because it's the only way to have healthy food. You know, there is no such thing really as healthy processed food. It just doesn't really exist. So we need to stop serving kids chemicals, colors, dyes, high fructose corn syrup, trans fats, highly processed foods with lots of sodium. We actually need to cook, and that's whether we're feeding kids at home or in school. You know, I mean, we have to feed kids real food to protect their health.
And so when you say cooking real food, was there, I'm sure there had to be some sort of initiative with the cook staff at these facilities to give them training. You're a chef by trade, so was that part of the evolutionary process, is retraining the cooking staff?
Yes, absolutely. You have to work with the staff. You have to train them. You have to educate the kids, the parents. So it's all about training and education and marketing.
And so what kind of words and language did you use with the cook staff and you know, people don't like to change. So how did you encourage them and get buy-in from the cooking staff to change their habits that were probably hard to modify?
Well, we taught them how to cook and made it part of their job.
And did you make it fun? Did you encourage them to have fun with this and to see it as, you know, a chance to really impact the lives of the kids? I'm just trying to think of ways that we can cajole people into these better habits.
Well, we're not into cajoling. We're into educating and mandating. And
Okay.
you certainly, that means you have to work with people and you have to make it part of the culture. But,
Okay.
you know, I don't believe we cajole our employees. I think we really work with them. We treat them professionally. We give them professional training and then demand professionalism.
Excellent. Excellent. And so I'm thinking about the positive impact. We all know that, you know, better food builds a better body, builds a sharper mind. And do y'all have any statistics as of late as far as the impact of your, you know, the changes over the last 6 years of you gradually weeding out the bad stuff and bringing in more good stuff into the school system? Have the school system scores and test scores improved? The behavior of the kids changed?
Well, we have that information anecdotally, but we've never done an outside evaluation, and the reason we haven't is because evaluations cost a lot of money. We did do a small one in Berkeley, but even that small one in Berkeley cost $500,000. So, you know, you have to weigh that. Do you want to spend $2 or $3 million on an evaluation, or do you want to put that money into the food for the kids? So we've never done an official evaluation. I will tell you that the number of kids eating, we were up 7% last year over the year before, which was up 4% over the year before that. So we know more kids are eating. Anecdotally, we have a lot of positive comments and positive feedback from both kids and parents. Anecdotally, I can tell you that, you know, teachers have told us that there's less absenteeism and less tardiness because of some of our programming. Overall, Boulder does pretty well with test scores, but we've never actually tried to equate test scores to healthy food.
What percentage of your school system is on free and reduced lunch? Do you know?
21.
41?
21.
21, okay. All right. And has there been any difficulty with those children as far as getting buy-in on the foods? Are they adopting to foods that they may not be accustomed to or familiar with?
We do a lot of education. We actually have a high percentage of the free and reduced kids eat, as you would expect, because they're hungry kids. But we do about 200 events a year in our schools, working with kids, doing Iron Chef competitions, tastings, rainbow days, chef demos, working with the kids, growing their palates, teaching them about the new food.
And can this be found? I just heard like 8 wonderful fun ideas for kids, and I'm going, how do I find out how to work that program? Do you share this information through the Chef?
Yes, it's all on the lunchbox.org.
Awesome, awesome, because this is the main goal, is to provide people with resources. They want to do things, but a lot of people aren't creative, and if you've already created something that is captivating for the children and engaging them, then the best idea is to replicate these best practices. So I thank you for sharing that kind of information with your with everybody that really cares. That's fantastic. And so tell us some more things about the Chef Ann Foundation that we may not know.
Well, the Chef Ann Foundation, we have a number of projects. So we talked about a couple. We talked about the Lunchbox, which is our premier project. We talked about Let's Move Salad Bars to Schools. We have a Healthy Breakfast for Kids, where this is a granting program where we grant schools money to do. It's also a granting program. We grant schools up to $2,500 to do education around salad bars. So we will help them buy product and do rainbow days and tastings. We have another project called the Parent Advocacy Initiative, where we're specifically, this might be important to your listeners, the Chef Ann Foundation has the Parent Advocacy Initiative, and under that initiative, it helps parents work on changing their school to healthier school food. And we've also got some other programming going on where we do granting for equipment and technical assistance. So we're all about trying to help schools segue from highly processed to scratch-cooked foods.
It sounds like you just have like a cornucopia. I see this big horn of plenty of all the fantastic things that you are doing and your team is putting together to share these resources. And I'm going to encourage everybody to please go to the Chef Ann Foundation. Is it .org? chefannfoundation.org to get there and find out all these useful tools that you all have put together. And as far as us supporting your efforts, obviously people, when you go there, there's the ability to donate to your foundation.
Correct, and sign up for our newsletters. We have numerous. If you've got a Facebook, you can like us on Facebook, which would be great. You can follow us on Twitter, and you can tell all your friends about the work we do.
Absolutely. And is there anything else that you think that we can do for your organization other than following your newsletter and supporting you guys?
I think that the biggest thing we need right now, because the Chef Ann Foundation and the Lunchbox just relaunched, is we really want to get people to utilize the Lunchbox,
okay,
to go to the website, to look at the recipes, to help school districts know that this resource is available. So getting the word out there is the most important thing you can do to help us.
Okay, so everybody, please, when you go to the Chef Ann Foundation, make sure that you like them on Facebook, make sure you share their tweets, retweet their tweets with all your friends. Really, that's the way we have this organic growth, is by everybody sharing these best practices. So we can definitely encourage that, Chef Ann, and we will have the link to your organization that's at the bottom of the speaker page for everybody to tune into. And anyway, I don't want to belabor the point. I mean, it sounds like you've done some fantastic things, and you've given parents some first steps now, starting with the salad bar, talking to the board for their school, getting a body of parents together that really cares, and going and seeking change. So you're a model that we're going to watch and continue to watch as you make progress, and just wanted to thank you for sharing your time with us today and being a part of the Healthy Schools Revolution.
Well, my pleasure, and I hope that everyone takes advantages of the tools we have, that you really do. Not to belabor the point, but go to our website, check us out, sign up for newsletters, share it with your friends, like us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter, and really everyone, if everyone could just do one thing to make school food healthier for their kids, support it, have your kids buy it, work with your school district, support our foundation, all of that will help make our kids healthier and make our planet a healthier place as well.
Absolutely. That made me think of one last question, Chef Ann. Like, if I'm a school and I get your toolkit and I have some questions, do you guys have resources available to actually have conversations with people about helping with the change, or?
Yes.
Okay.
So you can email us from the Chef Ann Foundation. You can email us from the Lunchbox. We have a section that's called Ask Chef Ann. So there's lots and lots of tools. There's lots of ways for us to communicate with schools that need and want some help.
That's perfect, because I think conversation is key. If we can't have conversation and answer, figure out ways to get around obstacles, then people sort of give up. So thank you for having the presence to keep the communication open and help facilitate all this change around the country. So I'm excited to go pull up a toolbox. I want to see what's in there and pull out the menus and throw, go get a meeting with my board and, show them what you guys are doing and hopefully inspire them to make some changes.
That would be fabulous. I'd love to see that happen.
Yeah, well, thank you very much again for your time, and we'll hopefully post some wins. People, that's another thing they can do is post their wins that they get from using your toolbox. Make sure they share those wins with you all.
Absolutely.
Okay. All right. Well, that's a wrap for today. Everybody, thanks for joining the Healthy Schools Revolution. And Chef Ann, have a great rest of your day.
Thank you. You too.
Okay. Bye.